everyone, and welcome to Shell Point Today for the weekend of March 4th, 5th, and 6th. I'm Mary Kay Grimaldi.
And I'm Rich Nation. Coming up on today's show, we'll give you an inside look and a bird's eye view of the construction progress at the new Clubhouse. And we'll recap the top stories from this week.
But first, we'd like to remind you that on Monday there will be an Ageless Creativity Workshop. April 1st is the deadline for artists to apply for inclusion in the Ageless Creativity Exhibition, to be held in February 2017 at the Sidney and Byrne Davis Art Center in Fort Myers. Are you interested in applying but feel daunted by the online process? At the session, exhibition organizer Marge Lee of Lucina will answer questions, and computer experts will be available to help you. For more information, call Program Coordinator Caitlin Van Scoy at 454-2057. No doubt you've seen the massive construction project taking place northwest of the estuary, and you probably already know that it's the future home of the Shell Point Clubhouse. But would you like to know even more? How about an up-close, inside look, as well as a bird's eye view from up above? Project Development Manager Bob Southern is ready to give you an exclusive behind-the-scenes tour of the progress thus far at the Clubhouse.
Hi, I'm Bob Southern, Project Director for Shell Point, and we thought it was time that everybody needed an update about the status of the construction of the golf course clubhouse. So we're here now. You can hear the noise behind us. There's a lot going on. So follow me and we'll show you around. What you see here behind me is the opening work for what will be the grand staircase in the main lobby of the clubhouse. Takes you obviously from the ground level up to the dining level. Will be a very attractive feature here in the clubhouse once it is completed. I'm standing here on the backside of the grand staircase. On either side of the staircase you see an elevator shaft. There'll be two elevators serving this building, take you up to the second floor of the dining area. One of them actually goes to the roof for staff to be able to service equipment and take care of other rooftop needs. This large open area will one day be filled with golf carts. After all, this is a golf course clubhouse, and this area is designed to store the carts when they're not in use. There will be charging station for all those carts and other necessary amenities to serve the carts and the folks that use them. As you can see behind me, the studs are going up that will create the eventual walls for the locker room areas and other amenities and functions within the clubhouse. It won't be long before drywall starts going up, and you'll be able to really see how this place lays out. This relatively open area that we're in on the south end of the building will eventually be our beauty salon and our aerobics exercise rooms, accessible directly from the outside for residents and members to use this area for having their hair done and getting a little bit of a workout. This cavernous area you see behind me is being built out to be our future dining room, grill area, and banquet facility. So there will be plenty of seating in here for people coming to an event or a banquet, or just coming in for dinner, lunch, or a meal as a part of a special occasion. I'm now standing on the northwest corner of the building, and as you can see as we pan around, that there are wonderful views over in this area, and will be a great environment for dining both inside and outside. We're very much looking forward to folks having the opportunity to come out here, enjoy our new clubhouse and our new dining venues. One very important aspect of being able to move forward with the further construction on the interior is to get the roof on and dried in. And what you see happening up there now is a process of putting on what's typically referred to as peel and stick. And that is a roofing material that goes underneath of the final roofing product, whether it be shingles or slate tile or whatever it might be. And that provides the bulk of the waterproofing for the roof. It's a product that adheres very well to the surface it's applied to, is generally self-sealing, so if you drive a nail through it, it seals around the nail and provides a good adhesion if you should have a very windy event. We're on the west side of the building now, the portion of the building facing Shell Point Boulevard, which is really the rear of the building. And you can see that there is a lot of construction detailing on this structure that makes it very attractive and gives it a very nice appeal. When the paint goes on and the roofing color is on and all the detailing is done, you will see that this will be a very classy structure that we can all be proud of.
And now it's time to take a look at today's happenings, Academy news, menus, and the Village Church connections.
Hello and welcome to the weekend edition of the Happening segment of Shell Point TV. I'm Bev Chandley.
And I'm Caitlin Van Scoy.
And we're going to go over Friday, Saturday, and Sunday activities for you today. At 8 o'clock, we have the men's match play tennis going on at the Woodlands Tennis Courts. 8:15, the Stamp Ministry will be in the tunnel in the Stamp Room doing their good work. At 9 o'clock, Canasta and Samba will both be played in the Woodlands Commons second floor lobby. At 10 o'clock, we have the men's match play tennis at the Woodlands Tennis Courts. And our Inquiring Minds group will be in the Manatee Room on the island at 10:15. The Susie Q is going to Marker 92 or Pincher's Crab Shack today. They leave at 10:30. We're going to continue with the afternoon lineup where we'll find a 12:30 game of mixed progressive bridge. That'll be in the game room of the Woodlands. And we have a Health Connections class at 12:45, Zumba Fitness, session 4. That's in the Health Club on the island. It's currently full. We have a 1 o'clock diabetes group appointment that's held in the social center. We have advanced table tennis going on down in the Tarpon Room at 1:15. Also at 1:15, the quilters will be meeting in the Osprey Room on the island. The model train room will be open for tours and viewing from 1:30 to 3:30. And also at 1:30, we have Vespers in the community room of the Arbor. Bid Euchre will be in the Sable Room of the Woodlands at 2. And at 2:15, we have water volleyball going on at the Life Quest Aquatic Center. Our second Vespers will be in the community room of King's Crown. That's at 2:30. And at 2:45, we have the group Great Decisions. That'll be in the Manatee Room, and the subject is migration. At 3 o'clock, ballroom line dancing will be in the Health Club on the island. And our final Vespers is at 3:30 at the Springs. And we have a theater outing going out tonight to the Florida Repertory Theater. The court pickups begin at 6:30 for the island, 6:45 for the Woodlands, and 7 o'clock for Estuary and Eagles Preserve. At 6:45, we have game night at the Resident Activity Center, and that's our last activity for Friday. Here's Caitlin for Saturday's lineup.
Thank you, Bev. Saturday morning, we have the Southwest Florida Bladder Cancer Walk. Pickups begin on the island at 7 o'clock in the morning, 7:10 Woodlands, and 7:20 Eagles Preserve and Estuary. You do need to sign up for that walk. At 8 o'clock, we have pickleball at the game courts. Also at 8, round robin doubles tennis will be at the Woodlands Tennis Courts. Following that, at 9:30, we have men's and women's doubles tennis at the Woodlands. And at 9:45, we have duplicate bridge in the Manatee Room. The Model Yacht Sailing Club will be at the Garden Apartment Pond at 10:15, sailing their boats. And then we move to the afternoon for 1 o'clock chess in the Library Lounge. 1:15 is the time for table tennis in the Tarpon Room. And 3:15, we have basic line dancing in the Health Club. There's a community concert series going to Barbara B. Mann Theater, leaving the island at 6:15, 6:25 Woodlands, and 6:35 Eagles Preserve and Estuary. That's it for Saturday. Here's Bev for Sunday.
Thank you, Caitlin. We're going to start Sunday morning at 9 o'clock with Christian Life Studies in the game room of the Woodlands and also at the Village Church. And we move on to our 10:15 morning worship service at the Village Church. It's also broadcast live on Shell Point TV, Channel 13. Our Sunday golf mixer will be at 3:30 in the afternoon and at the Shell Point Golf Club. And we have Latin size at 4:15 at the Health Club on the island. And our last activity for the weekend is the evening service at the Village Church, which begins at 6:15. We're glad you joined us this weekend, and we will see you back here next week.
Hi, I'm Terry Kolath with your Academy information for Friday, Saturday, Sunday, March 4, 5, and 6. On Friday at 10:15, we have an iPad, iPhone, Mac, free walk-in clinic at the Technology Teaching Center on the island. Just come, sign in, and share your question. On Saturday, we have lunch with the professor for those who signed up, and then the class begins at 1 o'clock. The history of Athens and the Parthenon in the Grand Cypress Room of the Woodlands. I'd like to tell you what's coming up next week in the Academy. On Monday, March 7th, we have an AARP Smart Driver course. Our instructor is Paul Hoden of Oakmont. We have an iPad calendar class with Penny Modridge of Nautilus. On Tuesday, Christy Anders, Education Director for Sanibel Captiva Conservation Foundation, returns. This time her topic for us is tides and currents. We have an iPhone class at 6 Apple stores with Bruce Findlay of Sundial, and Dick Brown of Parkwood begins Math in Society. On Wednesday, we start local efforts to combat human sex trafficking with Part 1. Marianne McGuire of Turban and Nola Theis will be our presenters. A new March session of classes on Intermediate Bridge will begin with Susan Willoughby. And on Thursday, we have our third legacy seminar of the semester. This one, Can Annuities Meet Your Retirement Goals? We also have the iPhone Basic Apps Mail app with Bruce Findlay of Sundial, and the story of Pakistan and Afghanistan with Professor Adrian Kerr.
Menus for your weekend. In the Crystal Room, the Crystal Platter on Friday is seared tuna with bok choy and fried brown rice. The dinner special is the seafood buffet for $17.95. The soup of the day is Manhattan clam chowder. In the Island Cafe for lunch on Friday, the special is fish and chips for $7.75. The dinner special is Chef's Choice for $8.75. Dinner specials in the Palm Grill are veal Oscar for $19.95 or seared swordfish for $18.95. On Saturday, the Crystal Room is closed. In the Island Cafe for lunch on Saturday, the special is a chili cheeseburger with chips for $7.75. The dinner special is tilapia parmesan with island rice and broccoli for $8.75. In the Palm Grill on Saturday, you can have prime rib for $20.95. On Sunday, the Crystal Room features its Sunday brunch for $17.50. In the Island Cafe for lunch on Sunday, the special is a roast beef panini with peppers, onions, and cheese and chips for $7.75. And the dinner special is Chef's Choice for $8.75. And the Palm Grill is closed on Sundays. All menus are available 24 hours a day at www.shellpoint.net.
Welcome to Village Church Connections. I'm David Pavey, and with me is Pastor Randy Woods. Randy, we're here to talk about the weekend.
Yes, here it is
Fill us
again.
in.
Another big weekend, the first Sunday of March.
Exact. Can you believe it?
Yeah. And as is part of our tradition, on Sunday morning will be a communion service, as we do the first Sunday of each month. But it also is special. We have a friend who is visiting, sharing in the ministry of song, Gary Matthews.
Oh, wonderful.
Many have remembered through the years, Ron and Gary Matthews as brothers, have been here and shared in ministry many times. Yes. Well, Gary's just here on a little visit with his dear mother, Elva Matthews of Salana. And Gary's going to be sharing Sunday morning as we gather for worship, singing as we start the service, as well as during communion, playing the piano and singing.
Excellent.
And then the choir will be singing as well. We're doing an English anthem. I'm sure you'll know this one. John Ireland's anthem entitled Greater Love Hath No Man Than This.
Oh, sing it for me and I'll know if I...
I don't want to scare anyone. That might be a little too much. Come hear the choir. They do really well.
Amen.
Yes. And Pastor Andy is continuing his series as we speak about the mission, the vision of the church. And here he's talking this Sunday about a people of hope.
People of hope. Good. We all need hope.
Yes. So it'll be a wonderful time of worship as we gather again on Sunday morning.
And in the evening?
In the evening, he is continuing his series on the names of Jesus.
And this will be less formal. He'll be down on the floor, probably walking around and doing his professorial thing.
Probably so. And if I remember correctly, he is speaking about what do the disciples call Jesus. Now,
fascinating.
You'll have to come and find out, because I may be wrong, but that's what I'm remembering.
Well, that's good. That's enough to entice me anyway.
Yeah. So Sunday morning worship at 10:15 and the evening at 6:15, and we invite everyone to come and share. It's a delight to come together as a community, and this time of the year with so many students on spring break now in March, we'll have more of them coming and going, but Gary Matthews being with us will be a really special treat in his
Lovely.
ministry.
And I know his mother will be delighted.
Yes.
Thank you for tuning in once again to Village Church Connections.
And now let's take a look back at some of the top stories from earlier this week. This year, we've had some really unique weather, tornado warnings, heavy storms, winds, and power outages here at Shell Point have brought questions and concerns from many residents. Rita Southern, Director of Assisted Living, discussed these concerns earlier this week with Outpatient Services Director Dr. Carol Clark and Resident Support Services Manager Janine Hammond.
Hi, I'm Rita Southern. I'm the Director of Assisted Living and Resident Support Services here at Shell Point. I've asked some folks to join me today to talk a little bit about an interesting topic. Carol Clark, Dr. Carol Clark, our Director of Outpatient Services here at Shell Point, and Janine, who is our Manager of Resident Support Services, is joining us as well. We wanted to talk today about issues that are challenging during weather-related occurrences, because we've had some really interesting times during this winter, and our winter has been really unique. We've had rain, we've had wind, and we've had some power outages as a result of some of those storms. And our residents have experienced what it's like to go through a tornado, warnings and the power outages, and some of the questions that have come to us. I know they've come through the medical center. I know they've hit some of the case managers, and we thought we'd bring some answers to our Shell Point residents as a result of some of the discussion that we've had. I know, Janine, one of those questions is, how can residents plan for an unexpected power outage? Do you have some advice for our Shell Point residents?
I think that it's just most important for our residents to plan in advance. Expect the unexpected and be ready with those flashlights on hand, with extra batteries on hand, whatever it is that you're going to need in the case of an extended power outage or a tornado warning. Be prepared.
We did come up with some plans in terms of those folks that need oxygen.
If someone is dependent on some kind of a respiratory device, something electric that they need on a daily basis, we've made arrangements that they can go to the assisted living building nearest them, whether that's the Arbor or King's Crown, because we do have the ability to accommodate folks in those locations for an extended period of time so that they can plug in their oxygen concentrator, their CPAP, whatever it might be. If they have medication that needs to be refrigerated, they can feel free to, come to the Arbor, come to King's Crown. We'll be expecting them, and we will have a comfortable place for them.
And our one call does it all. Call the 2190 call center if our residents are concerned about any of those issues.
Absolutely. Call the call center. They'll be happy to get you set up. If you need transportation to get there, we can get folks out to help pick you up. We understand that it might be an issue for some folks to get some of that equipment over with them.
Wonderful. We had some folks that were concerned when the power went out about refrigerated medications. Do you have some advice about that to give our residents?
Yes, especially with insulin, which is probably the primary concern. Insulin can be opened and out of the refrigerator for 30 days. So in a power outage, it's unlikely that that would extend beyond that period of time. And an unopened insulin container can be out in the room air much longer than that. There are some medications now that are distributed in, for lack of a better word, a type of gel or paste, and some of those have a shelf life that's extended by being refrigerated. So I still believe that anything that's just a few hours is not going to hurt that.
Okay. Some of our discussions that we've had, our residents dealt with really impactful winds. What would be some of your recommendations for our residents as they start to think about moving around our community in those situations that they're going to find themselves in?
I think it's really important to turn on the news and have a feeling for what the wind velocity is, because we have a number of residents who really barely weigh in at 100 pounds. And if the wind is blowing at 30 or 40 miles an hour, that can be really challenging. And we actually did have some people who were injured, and the areas that seem to be most at risk are the ones that are right on the water, and then in the taller buildings where there's an atrium that creates a wind tunnel. Just to be aware that it takes a lot of strength to overcome that kind of velocity, and especially in a wind that could be side blowing. That takes a lot of power to overcome that. It's a good opportunity to use the services that we have. If you just pull your cord, you can have a nurse come, you can have food delivered. A lot of things can happen at Shell Point by just staying in.
Rita, they can call 2190 in an instance like that. If your anxiety is extremely high because of the weather and you really are feeling like you cannot be alone at that point in time, by all means, you can call the call center. They'll get you hooked up to go over to the assisted living building so that you can be with other people and have that level of comfort knowing that the nursing staff, the resident care assistants are there and you can mingle with the other residents.
Absolutely. I'm happy that we can bring these types of reassuring questions and answers to our residents here at Shell Point. Hopefully we won't have reoccurrences of this unusual type of winter weather, and we will all pray for a calm, quiet hurricane season. Not that we're looking forward to hurricane season, but we'll all pray for quiet, calmer weather in the future. But should we have one of these kinds of instances, feel free to give us a call through the call center, and we'll be happy to help and support you in any which way we can.
Do you have a strong enough password for your online account protection? If you have financial information that's accessed through the web, then you want to keep that as secure as possible. Anna Smith of FindMark Bank gave us some advice this week for using passwords in today's FindMark Minute.
Hello, I'm Anna Smith, Managing Executive at FindMark Bank on the island. In today's FindMark Minute, we are talking about creating strong passwords for online accounts. Many of you likely have financial and personal information accessible through the web. Given the damage that can happen if someone discovers your username or password, we have a few common sense rules to keep your accounts safe. First, never share your username and password. Also, don't make it easy for others to see you entering a password on a computer keyboard, your phone, or ATM keypad. Next, make sure you're using strong passwords. It should never be a word found in a dictionary. Today's cyber criminals use sophisticated dictionary programs to try and unlock passwords. It is better to use a combination of numbers, upper and lowercase letters, and symbols. And a long password is generally better than a short one. Also, avoid using personal information that may be easy to guess. If you have to write your passwords down to remember them, put them in a safe place, not readily accessible by others. Don't leave them on a desk next to your computer, and don't keep them on a file stored on your computer or mobile device. And while it's a lot to remember, use different passwords for different accounts. The danger in using the same username and password for everything is, if one account is compromised, all your accounts are at risk. It's a good idea to change your passwords periodically and change it immediately if you see any suspicious activity on your account. And finally, don't let your guard down. A little common sense can go a long way in protecting you from cyber thieves. The key is to avoid common mistakes and stay on top of things by regularly checking your accounts. If you have any questions about today's topic, call or stop by FindMark Bank on the island. We'd be happy to help you. I'm Anna Smith with today's FindMark Minute.
Bev Chanley was happy to talk to us about the new 2016-17 travel schedules that you don't want to miss out on if you're planning a fantastic getaway this year or the next.
A lot of you have seen me tie these yellow ribbons on suitcases before in the past because nearly 400 of our residents here at Shell Point have taken one of the travel trips with Shell Point, myself, and Icing's Travel. And we've added a couple of new trips for the 2016 travel itinerary, and we would like to tell you about those in a meeting on Friday, March 4th. We also are going to take the time during that meeting to tell you and do a slideshow about our 2017 trip lineup, which we've just come out with, and you'll be receiving flyers with your invitation in your mailbox at Shell Point. But March 4th at 2:30 in the Social Center, you're invited to come to a preview of the 2016-2017 travel program. I'd love to tie one of these yellow ribbons on your suitcase and take you with us on one of our great trips.
The Community Thrift Store on McGregor is a great place to find terrific deals on clothes, decor, furniture, and more. But it's also a great place to hang out and occupy your time, meeting other people and helping others. We visited the thrift store this week to find out more and to introduce you to a new member of the Resort Services team.
Hi, I'm Erica May, the Community Thrift Store Manager, and I'm here to introduce today our new volunteer coordinator, Beth Crenshaw. Welcome.
Thank you,
So glad
Erica.
you're here.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here too.
Great. So those of you who come to the Community Thrift Store to shop, you know what great values that we have here, but we're also looking for volunteers to come to our store once or twice a month. And Beth, what would they need to do in order to let us know that they're interested in volunteering?
Okay, yeah, if they are interested in this fun and flexible position, they would call my office, or they could stop by as well. So if they were to call, the phone number at my office is 454-2290.
Okay.
Or my office is located at the Resident Activity Center on the island.
Wonderful. So Beth, tell me about yourself. How long have you worked for Shell Point?
I have worked here, actually my first job was on call, and I started here at the thrift store doing some decorating for Christmas in 2014. And then I've also done some sorting of clothes in the back, and I had so much fun working here myself, so I do have some experience at the thrift store as well.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and then in January of 2015, I went down to the Legacy Foundation where I was a client care specialist for the past year, and I really enjoyed my time there and got to know a lot of the residents.
Well, that will be really helpful then. So some of you probably already know Beth, so that's wonderful.
Yeah, it's fun.
Well, great. So if you are a bookworm, an art enthusiast, want to have some fun and get away from Shell Point just for a little while, you're welcome to come here and volunteer. And again, please see Beth, and we'll work together and have a great time. We appreciate your time today. Thank you.
This week we gave you a look at a special bird that now lives here at Shell Point. He's a shy little creature and hasn't been out to play very much, but you might see him more and more in the coming weeks and months. Perhaps you've seen him flying around the new clubhouse under construction. Well, if you've read this month's Shell Point Life magazine already, then you probably know something about this bird. Here's Dan Philgreen and Adam Brown once again.
Well, hi Shell Point. We're out here near the site of the new clubhouse building, and we thought we'd show you something new that we have at Shell Point TV, a new tool, some great new technology, some things that you've probably been seeing in the news about drones. Well, we prefer to call ours an aerial camera system. And this little device here is the basis of it. It uses these batteries and lets us get a camera up in the air to get some really beautiful pictures. And it goes together very quickly. It's very convenient for us to have it ourselves. In the past, for aerial shots around Shell Point, we've had to hire a helicopter with a cameraman, and very expensive proposition to do that. And oftentimes they end up over here on the property and it's not a really great day. The sun's not really good, or we've had days when they were out here and it was just too windy to get good shots, and so the very few seconds usable was extremely expensive. But with our own, we can come out here and pick the best days. So this is the DJI Inspire. We're going to put it together here and get it ready to fly. So this is the integral camera that's part of this system, and it actually shoots 4K video, which is the same resolution on the screen when you go to the theater and see a Hollywood movie in a digital format these days. And the real key to it is this multi-axis gimbal here. It not only allows the camera to be positioned with pan and tilt, it also can control the Z-axis. The big thing is that it is an active stabilizer. And you'll see in the footage that we get, it's extremely stable, very solid. In fact, when the device is hovering still in the air, it looks like the camera's bolted to the sky. It's quite amazing.
The beauty of this particular model that we have here is that it has a dual operator mode. What that allows us to do is it allows Dan here to actually fly the drone, but then it allows me to control the camera gimbal, which he just showed you, to frame up shots so that we can get the best looking footage that we possibly can. So what we have here is two controllers. Again, they're identical controllers, but one flies the drone and one controls the camera. And then we have iPads, which allow us to see what the drone camera is seeing so that we can frame up our shots.
Now the real beauty of this particular system is that it integrates so many technologies into one system. It's obviously a flying platform and a camera system, and the integration that's so beautiful is that we have dual controls, we have the video live fed to the iPad so we can frame up shots while they're going on the fly, literally. But the other thing that's not as actually apparent at first is the actual flight systems that are integrated. It uses GPS to know where it is at all times. It uses accelerometers. It has an altimeter in it, so it knows how high it is. It knows if it's moving in a direction. It also, on the bottom here, has a downward-looking camera that can pick up the pattern of what's below it, and it knows if it's moving by whether the ground is moving in its image. Also, there's little sonar things, kind of like the backup things that might be in the back bumper of your car, that are proximity indicators. It knows how high above the ground it is. So with all of these indicators, it can fix itself in space, it can take itself off by itself, it can land by itself. It's very safe. If it loses the connection to the controller at any time, it's programmed to return to the point of takeoff and land itself. A long time ago, when I was younger, I used to fly radio control airplanes like you might see at the flying field in Cape Coral. This system is very much easier to fly than that, much more stable, and compared to any of the toy drones that maybe your grandkids might have gotten for Christmas, it's far easier to fly, which makes it far more stable, far safer. The legal and regulatory environment that these things are flying is actually in a state of transition right now, so things are changing. However, there are some protocols that are in place for commercial use, which is what we fall under. Those involve a lot of paperwork, jumping through a lot of hoops for licensing and for the things that are in place in the meantime before the FAA comes up with its comprehensive rulings on drones. But one of the things in the temporary situation to be as safe as possible, and overabundance of caution, is the FAA is requiring for commercial operators at this point to have a pilot's license, a full-size airplane pilot's license, which I happen to have, but they also require it to be current, so I've had to do some more flight training to get current again. So that's their way of making sure that people that are operating commercially understand the airspace restrictions, understand the possible conflicts with regular full-size aircraft and these kinds of things. So we have gone through every possible effort to comply with all the current regulations. All right, well, looks like we're ready to go, so let's fly. When the aircraft is in its flight mode, the rotor support arms are raised up so that the camera is hanging down and has a 360-degree unobstructed view, which is quite a fantastic feature for our use, which is photography. This thing is very, very stable. and very easy to make it hover and stay in one position. And stability makes it easy to fly, makes it safe. Now, as you can see, right now I have my hands off of the controls. If you run into any kind of situation with this thing, you just let go and it will actually stop in space wherever it is and hover. And even if the wind's blowing, it compensates for that and it just hovers itself, which is an amazing feature. It's probably the best feature as far as the flight mode is concerned that the thing has. It's the ability to keep itself stopped. Okay, I'm going to make it go really fast and stop. There we go, stopped itself.
So one of the other features about this camera is that the camera on the drone is a wide angle lens, which means we really can't zoom in at all. So as far as privacy is concerned, it's not like we're spying on anyone here. We're just getting some gorgeous landscape shots that are going to really make Shell Point look its very best.
So one of the first tasks we've applied the system to is documenting the construction of the clubhouse, and we've been able to get some really cool stuff. So we'll show you kind of how that works right now. A fantastic thing about this system is that there's a wealth of information that's on the screen available to both the aircraft operator and the camera operator at all times. We can see where it is, we can see how high it is, how fast it's going. We can also change the camera settings, change the exposure, color settings on the camera in real time as it's being flown. So unlike in the past, most aerial systems were kind of a matter of you try it, and then you see what's wrong and come back and fix it and go out and try again. With this system, we're able to tweak it on the go and get perfect results in one flight. Then when it's time to land, we can lower the landing gear, just like this, and bring the drone down for a safe and smooth landing. So we are very excited to have this wonderful new capability for Shell Point TV, and we look forward to showing you Shell Point from a whole new perspective.
While most have heard about human sex trafficking in third world countries, few know that it's happening right here in Southwest Florida as well. Our state has the third highest incidence of trafficking in the United States, with about 30,000 children enslaved in the trafficking business nationwide. Terry Kolath spoke to us about sex trafficking and the upcoming academy classes sponsored by the Women's Ministries, designed to educate us on the efforts to combat this crime against humanity.
Hello, I'm Terry Kolath. I'm here with two very special guests today, and we're talking about a topic that will absolutely amaze you. We're partnering with the Women's Ministries, and we have Charlotte Stemple with us. Charlotte lives in Solana, and she does global outreach. And we have Mary Ann McGuire. Mary Ann is from Turbin, and she brought this idea to Women's Ministries, and they were generous enough to share it with the Academy, and we're welcoming all Shell Point. Thank you for joining me, ladies. This is really a topic that you hear about, you read about a little bit, but talking to you, Mary Ann, it brought the trauma and just the amazing fact that this is not only happening around the world, not only happening to women and girls, but it's happening right here. How did you get involved?
Well, I got involved as a result of a Bible study. And I had heard about human trafficking, like most people have heard something about it internationally, but I kept wondering about what's happening here. This voice wouldn't go away. And during a Bible study, I was really spurred on to answer my own question. So I did a search, Google search, and I searched the two words, Fort Myers and human trafficking. And to my surprise, several sites came up. And that was the beginning of my journey. And I joined several organizations. I've been trained to be a trainer myself, to give community presentations. And I'm on a board of directors of another organization. So I've done, it's growing. And during that process, I really felt the need to bring it to Shell Point.
And Charlotte, she brought it to Women's Ministries. And what did Women's Ministries want to get involved with this topic?
Well, we said this is something we want to do. We like to do things that involve more than just one small group. And when we get information like this, it was just astounding. Last year, we had a program called Remember New regarding that in Thailand and around the world. And so this is really just an extension of that, bringing it back home to us. It's not just over there in Thailand, it's right here in Fort Myers. And we were shocked and we were stunned at the caliber of the speakers that Mary Ann could get for us. They are top notch. One just presented at the Senate. And so we said, yes, we want to have this in Shell Point and in the Academy. And so we approached you. So
wonderful. And it's just not something that I mean, I applaud you for thinking, I want to know more about this. Because I think the human tendency is to go, oh no, you know, I don't want to hear this. Why is it important that we at Shell Point hear it, not just the women, but also the men? Is it because we're all involved in some way?
It impacts everybody. This crime has been operating in the shadows, and it feeds on ignorance. And by putting it into the light, we have an opportunity to actually do something about it. And it's a horrible crime.
It is. When you think of your children, your grandchildren, you know, sweet children you see on the streets, that something like this could happen.
I think the best way to reach the audience in this, I'm going to ask you a question.
Okay.
And it's, Terry, if you had a 12-year-old grandchild and you knew that for a trafficker that child was worth $300,000 a year, and that trafficker would do whatever he or she could to lure your child into the trafficking business, wouldn't you want to know more? I mean, it's a no-brainer.
It's incomprehensible.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer when you say it that way. And it is in our backyard. And children are being lured into it. The average age is 12 years old. And it's our children. It's not children from other countries necessarily. It's our neighbors.
And you are going to bring people who are working right here.
Yes.
On the situation. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, we have some real champions in this area, and in some ways we are a model for other parts of the country to follow. And I want to keep that going. On the first day, we're going to have a PowerPoint presentation talking about prevention on the first day. And Nola Theis, who's the former mayor of Sanibel, and has devoted her retirement, she's about our age, has devoted her retirement to this issue. And she has set up an organization called Human Trafficking Awareness Partnership. And she goes into schools, she does prevention, she does education, and she really works at this full time. And it's a wonderful organization that she has. And that's the first day.
And then we have part two.
And then we have part two, which is going to focus on intervention. And we're going to be bringing in some people that are actually working with children and young adults who have been victimized by this and are now survivors. And we'll have Carolyn Goulet, who is in the process of opening up a shelter here in Fort Myers, or a home, I should say, not a shelter, a home for children. And these are minor children who have been victimized and are now survivors of human sex trafficking. And then we have Yaro Garcia, who is just a wonderful speaker. And she's the one that has spoke to Congress and has an international reputation. And she is clinical director of the Abuse Counseling and Treatment Program, which is the Domestic Violence Shelter Act. But her focus is working with the human sex trafficking victims. And that's what she does, that she does a wonderful job. She works with them for years. And last but not least, we'll be having one of the survivors speak. And this is a person that Yao has worked with for years, has gotten to herself healthy enough that now she wants to talk to others so that others don't fall into this and that we can stop this from happening. And that is so powerful. I can't tell you how powerful it is to hear a victim talk about her experience and to see that she survived that experience and she's now becoming a healthy adult. It's
And
like,
helping
wow.
others.
Yeah.
Others. Well, it's always such a pleasure to work with you two. You're so bright and so motivated and so involved, and that you will bring this to our whole community. I hope you will take every opportunity possible to come as we give you a chance to shed some light on this problem that's growing and that is right on our doorstep. And your first opportunity is Wednesday, March 9th. Your second opportunity is Wednesday, March 16th, to come to look at local efforts to combat human sex trafficking in Southwest Florida and in the United States. Please join us.
It's time for another Academy on the Go trip. It's not too early to sign up for the Southwest Florida Reading Festival on March 19th. Bev Chanley has all the details on this outing for those who have a passion for reading.
Hi, I'm Terry Kolath. I'm here today with Bev Chanley, Program Coordinator of Resort Services, who takes us on all the Academy on the Go trips. And not only do you take us, Bev, you help to plan them.
Yep.
And that's fabulous.
I sure do. Coming up with ideas is always interesting.
This one I'm really looking forward to. And I love how you called it Connect with Your Inner Bookworm. Attend the Southwest Florida Reading Festival. Every year I look at this and I think how fascinating it is. And I've been to it. And, you know, as a teacher, I just think it's fascinating to see what's going on with reading today. You know, you meet local authors, and it's going to just be a lot of fun. What do you think about it?
Well, I think we have such an academic community here at Shell Point. We have writers, we have readers, we have poets, we have everything. And we also have parents, grandparents, great-grandparents who like to buy books for their children.
Sure.
So this is an opportunity to meet authors, to see what's out there, new books, what's there for kids, see what the kids are jumping on, and you know, buying some gifts maybe. It should be a really nice outing. I think that we'll have a nice time there at the Harborside Convention Center.
And it amazes me the variety of writing that's happening right in Florida. You know, people are writing about Florida, they're writing about history, they're writing about all sorts of things. They're interesting things, they're exciting things, and books for children. And we've had a number of the local authors come to talk in the Academy, so it'll be kind of fun to go and actually see them.
Yeah, or maybe recruit some for the future.
Recruit some for the future. That's right. If you go on this trip with Bev Chanley, we hope you do. Jot down names of authors you'd like to have me invite to come to Shell Point to talk in the Academy. It's time to sign up if you're interested in this trip, and you can connect with your inner bookworm.
It's time to get out your dancing shoes from the 1970s. This year's spring dance is all about the spinning ball and the bell-bottom pants. Here's a couple of groovy chicks who were happy to give us more information this week.
Hey Caitlin, what are you doing?
Well, I'm just getting out some stuff for the disco coming up and just trying to get some things ready.
Disco?
Oh yeah, I'm trying out my new disco ball too. It's gonna be so much fun. That is a great jacket on you. Hey, don't forget the sunglasses.
Groovy, I love discos. When is this dance?
March 10th from 7 to 10. It's gonna be a great time. It's only $10 per ticket. It's gonna be food, dancing, and a glow lounge, photo booth.
Rad.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be so far out.
Far out, huh?
Uh-huh. Isn't that like the disco talk?
I think so.
I was born in the 80s, almost the 90s, so I wasn't around then.
Yeah, so maybe we'll have to learn some lingo at the dance.
Okay, all right. How's the disco ball looking?
Groovy.
Okay. So the dance is happening March 10th, 7 to 10. You can sign up now. It'll be a groovy time of dancing, food, and photo booth, so don't miss it. I'll see you there.
Be there or be square.
That brings this weekend edition of Shell Point Today for March 4th, 5th, and 6th to a close. Thanks for spending time with us. I'm Mary Kay Grimaldi.
And I'm Rich Nation. We will see you again next week. Have a great rest of your weekend, everyone.